Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 14, Week 5. Yeah, I still had a couple of these to cover. I kind of forgot about that. Today, we're looking at Crusader Knights, we're looking at rankings of a scrub. And as stated before, we're going to be doing some lightning round drafts here. So, on one hand, I was really confused by a lot of the bans in this game. A lot of them really didn't make a lot of sense to me. Um, didn't feel like they were comfort bands or they were really playing much into a strategy. Just kind of felt like guys were just picking random, vaguely almost meta dudes and knocking them out. Like one of the more confusing bands, for example, Crusader Knights banned out like a Timber Saw, which I don't really understand exactly why they did that. You know, even if you want to protect the Kunkka mid, I mean, if they want to run Timber mid, it's their own funeral, frankly. It's a 47% win rate at best. Terms and conditions may apply. On the other side of the equation, I do think that a lot of the rankings of a scrubbed lineup, success here is going to come from exactly how well the Sven's game goes. If Ramanolo has a really good game here today, I think rankings of a scrub should be able to be fairly
Prepare
comfortable.
for
Being able
battle.
to armor up against this lineup is going to be a very big advantage for them. But on the other hand, if Sven kind of falls apart, especially in
Wow, you're
lane,
good.
like if
But I'm
Sven gets eaten
better.
by the Brood Rubik combo,
Wow.
but that's very, very bad. Very, very, very bad. Lena was a bit of a confusing pick, especially when it kind of came out. It is a little hard to see Peter doing much of anything this game with three fantastic. Like, Kunkka doesn't lane all that great into Lena, but every single moment after lane phase, it feels like Kunkka's got the advantage. Just on the grounds of being able to blow up Lena very casually whenever the hell he wants. Well, the reverse isn't really true.
30
Clinks,
seconds
Lena
to
hates to
battle.
see that. Brood Mother, Lena sure as hell hates to see that. Especially if Brood ends up getting a fairly early Orchid off of a fairly good lane. Can make it really hard to do much of anything as a Lena in this game. And choosing a very non-scaling hero on the Wizard also is a little odd to me.
Delicious.
It
Delicious.
feels
The
like,
battle
in
begins.
theory, the PPM lineup here should have the better upside, but I don't know. I feel like in practice it's going to be pretty tough for Lena to live, frankly. We're just going to say delicious a couple of times. We're going to get to lane phase here. Sven probably doesn't really know if he is queuing for an early Magic Wand. Exactly what he's up against. I don't think Magic Wand is. I mean, it's really good against Rubik and really bad against Brood Mother. So what's the final score? Not worth it, probably.
Not
I think
for
this is one
you.
of the lanes where if I'm pause one, I'm just gonna take the stick and leave it at that. Well, things appear to be starting relatively slow, so let's begin here with our, okay. Wizard's just gonna get right-clicked to death here. No. Guy is going to give up eventually, but he's just not gonna stop flame arrowing that Venomancer for anything. Taking the casual ignite there wasn't great. It's gonna allow Clinks to just kind of walk up here. Get another shut off. I think if there's a little better communication between Bliss and Kai on that particular encounter, I feel like that's probably first blood. That Ogre Magi is going to take quite a lot of heat. It's a little harder for him to take nowadays. And we're going to do the roll call. Position 1 for the Crusader Knights, we've got Kai. On the Clinks. Pause 2, we've got captain of the team London on one of his signature heroes, that Kunkka. I believe this is making its first appearance this season. Pause 3, you've got the Vex on the Brood Mother.
First blood.
Alright, yep, indeed, Ogre Magi is in fact going to be the first blood here. Goes in really deep. I don't really understand what Bliss was thinking there. That's not exactly a lane that you can just kind of casually right-click up to as a melee hero. Either way. Where was I? Yes, pause 3, you've got Vex on the Broodmother. Pause 4, you've got Dusty on the Rubik. And pause 5, currently just coming out of the grave, you've got Bliss, who used to rhyme with crits, now rhymes with nothing at all on the Ogre Magi. On the other side of the coin, rankings of a scrub, you've got returning from his career-ending injury. It's a miracle. You've got Ramanolo, pause 1 on the Sven. Pause 2, you've got PPM, aka Peter, captain of the team on the Lena. Pause 3, you've got Wizard on the Venomancer. Going very, very hard here. Kai just completely wasted a Q, trying to get rid of the Marcy there. Pause 3, you got Wizard on the Venomancer. Pause 4, you've got Katsu on the Marcy. And pause 5, you got Peaches, who's sponsored by the letter B. Oh, it's like the end. It's the end of the Screw clan tag there. I thought Peaches was a denizen of Sesame Street, and this game had been brought to us by the letter B. Very nasty support trade going on over here. Hazel looks a little unlikely to win it. Broodmother comes over. The second the spider starts walking this way, get a quick turnaround.
Nothing touches.
Okay, let's see what exactly just goes down here. Okay, this is just Marcy gaming, just as simple as it gets. Kai is gonna live to see Marcy die, which kind of sucks, but the pause on losing at this point in the lane, never great, never what you want to see.
I say
He's
no.
definitely gonna lose out on at least a couple of creeps here, and certainly lose out on any ability to compete with the Venomancer XP-wise for a minute. Wizard falls asleep there and fails to get a last hit, but at least follows it up with a good deny. So far, the Crusader Knights generally had in last hits. Only Lena is sitting there with more than her opposition for rankings of a scrub, and it's not by that much. She is leading heavily on the deny front, but not really on the last hit, just only up 2. Interesting scenario to be in, for sure. It's not really, and now it's equalized last hit-wise, not really where you want to be as Lena, because I feel like the only role she's going to have this game is kind of bullying out the Kunkka in lane here when she still has a chance. And if she's only kind of going parity with Kunkka here, that is not a great sign for rankings of a scrub. Okay, but that's a really good sign. I look away for 1 second, guys. Yeah, about half of Kai's HP is about to just melt off here. Goes for a desperation burning barrage on Wizard, but does not find anything of value there. Just goes right down.
No.
I think Wizards generally support playing instincts. Kind of messing with them a little bit in this lane. I feel like he's lowest on the net last hits chart, and he probably shouldn't be. I do feel like he is letting a few of these last hits go because he's just still in the muscle memory mindset of that legendary pause 5 player that we all know. Ogre Magi here. Okay, Marcy does not actually throw out the Ogre there, which is a little interesting. Not really sure why not. It would probably have been quite a nice little go there, had that come to be. Prude just making this place as miserable as possible to be for this dire safe lane, though. I will say it is worth noting, and I don't know how bad it is. And of course, just gets a completely free lane here. Okay, Kai is just gonna die again. Rest in peace. It's a very good thing for the Crusader Knights that the rankings of a scrub are in a pretty bad position strategically, because so far I would say the fact that Clinks has just taken so many falls here is looking really bad. If we were looking at a Venomancer, or not, rather than that, if we were looking at a hero that scaled a little better rather than the Venomancer here, this could be some real trouble.
Sanctioned by the order.
Beach is gonna get a casual kill there with the Shadow Wave. Gonna snipe out Rubik behind the creeps there. But, I was gonna say, if they just lose Ramonolo for that, that's not great. They're gonna get in tower dove here at mid. Dice to the first bow. That ain't too great. That ain't too great. Lina, of course, still well ahead of Kunkka as far as the denies go, but at this point, that's looking like an increasingly useless metric.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Kai is gonna just casually take a 100-0 again down at bot. Venomancer certainly has the potential to have a very scary mid game at this point. Well, he's going to fall off eventually and fall off quite hard, almost invariably. At the very least, Venomancer is going to be able to walk into the 10, 20, maybe even 30-minute mark, must-kill hero. Of course, you know, you can't discount the influence on the Marcy Gaming here, but Wizard not microing his wards. But does not matter, he's going to get another kill anyway. On the other side of the coin, Azul is going to take a very casual spill here, but does feel like it's going to be kind of hard to kill this Sven, even with the ability to die the tower. Vex is going to go for it though, and actually does accomplish it. Double kill here for the Broodmother. Which, I don't know, that's way worse than anything that's happened to Kai this lane. Like, Kai's sitting on 4 deaths, and that's terrible, but like, Kai's sitting on 4 deaths against somebody who's like, done not that long from now. Whereas, on the other hand, Broodmother now is 2-0, is about to eat this tower here.
Maybe it's a bait.
Things are getting worse and worse. And that's on a hero that, A, has less of ability an ability rather to come back from a bad lane phase, and B is he's giving the money away to a character that can actually scale to some degree. And stuns the spider lings rather than the main spider. Lina is here, but because of that stun miscue, Vex just talks the clock. And walks away.
Fight us the Lord.
Venomancer has chosen to rush the hell out of Hodo Defiance here. Not a bad well, yeah, not a bad idea. It'll help him stand up to a lot of what Kunkka has. It'll help him, obviously, just completely ignore the Ogre, basically. Kunkka got down pretty low here thanks to some Marcy Gaming, but did not quite go down here. I'm not really sure why Kai showed up to this lane. All he gets is a Q out, and he just has to walk away. Tazzle eaten by spiderlings under tower.
Is it a feed? Maybe it's a bait.
True. Bliss is also sitting at very low health under tower. I don't know how, if Wizard realizes exactly how perilous Bliss's situation is. I'm going to say probably not. At the very least, does not feel compelled to do anything about it. Really not with Marcy missing, who has been occupying partially this top lane for a while. Ramonolo going to get stunned by the Ogres. First tower goes down, Dire top T1. Solo smoke on Dazzle there. It's going to break it on Kai. Lina is going to just take a very casual spill out in the middle of mid. Marcy is going to try and go the distance to at least get the Rubik before she falls down. Not how it comes out. Very well timed Fade Bolt there. Really just gets rid of any hope for Marcy to actually get some revenge.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Take a look at this net worth chart here. You see that, with the exception of Venomancer, things are kind of going bad for the Dire core for the moment. Both Lina and Sven especially looking at very small pocketbooks, and while Clinks ain't doing that much better, Kunkka and Broodmother certainly are. And sure, Broodmother and Venomancer have nearly the same net worth, and right now that means something, but, you know, 10 minutes from now, if Broodmother and Venomancer have the same net worth, it's gonna be and tactical pause. Really quite bad for the rankings with Scrub here. There we go, I believe I overcorrected there. Here we go. Our Magic gonna get thrown out again. Wizard not microwing the wards there, and that might have actually just cost him the kill on the Ogre Magi. Maybe. No, it is gonna go fine, but as a public service announcement, please micro your Reno wards. If Veno gets that ward to fire on Bliss at the right time, then that's not a really shaky Ogre Magi almost right-clicks Fountain, and everybody has to go really long to kill him, waste like a minute to do so. Try to kill, that's a Veno sees Ogre, Veno eats Ogre type kill. Venomancer going to try and go for a Force Staff here. I'm not really sure if that's just going to be a casual Force Staff or, say, trying to reposition people in the Kunkka nonsense, or if that's going to be a full strength Hurricane Pike. Lena, with almost no items at all, is just having to go for straight BKB. She is calling Courier, maybe she's got something on it. She is going to have Travels, but it's going to be BKB Travels this game. That's not going to make her situation any easier, I don't think. It's going to be very hard for her to exist at all until that BKB comes out. Very bad situation here for Kai, who's going to take another loss, which is good. Soft lane is being very oppressive to Kai so far, which is, you know, even after the lane phase is over, which is very, very, very good. The less of a game Kai has, the more likely that you can find some way to win this game, though I gotta be honest, it is a little hard to see what the rankings of a scrub victory condition this game is going to be. I think it's just, at this point, Sven just has to suddenly start balling, basically. Like, Sven has to walk in on a team fight that's going bad and get an ultra kill. That's like how this game can be winnable for rankings of a scrub, and it's a little hard to see otherwise. Another boat coming down right on top of Lena's head here. Broodmother intervenes. Gets a cool stun. Then dies. Ogre Magi goes a little too far there trying to get that to happen. Goes down very casually. London gets the TP right out. Nothing more happens there. Trade of Ogre Magi for Lena. Ogre Magi did kind of put himself out of position there, but it's nothing worth crying over, I don't think. Lena is going to be able to casually farm these ways a little bit well here, until Kunkka starts to intervene. The moment that Kunkka starts patrolling, the Lena pushes out here, right? The Lena split pushing, it's going to be really, really tough for her to do anything. That's just a 1v1 she doesn't win. Not only a 1v1 she doesn't win, but a 1v1 she is kind of hard to find any sort of recourse for. She's also going to use a Shallow Grave there just to get the hell out of this situation. This Dire T1 mid is actually still up, and I do think that actually has a little bit more to do with Crusader Knights not really watching this tower's HP bar here. Wizard's going to eat an entire ship, and then he's going to eat a tip to follow from his former captain of London.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Very dead Marcy. This X marks the spot is very, very difficult for them to do anything about. If Broodmother has a web wherever the X marks the spot goes down, it feels like it's an almost guaranteed kill, especially on the support line, but I mean, like, how is, like, Lena gonna survive that either, you know? Not really effectively at all. I know I'm harping on it a little bit, but I do think this Lena pick is probably the biggest self-troll in this game. I feel like the Venomancer pick is only questionable in the respect to having the Lena pick. Just two really, really squishy cores here. Like, against the Kunkka, against the Broom Mother. Keep in mind that Kunkka was already known when both of those picks came out. I don't know, it's a little hard to get down with. You can see examples as to why here. I mean, this is really, really bad for Wizard. Well-timed stun. Kunkka calls the Torrent too early there. And doesn't realize that Dazzle's actually in a lot of trouble there. But, again, it doesn't really matter. Just 3 casual kills here. 3 and under club. No, it's not 3 and under club. It's Lena, Veno, and Marcy just go down very casually there for it. Feels like no effort, no sweat at all. I know it's 17 minutes, very early to call a game, but I mean, it really just does not feel... Even if Kai has no role to play in this game, but at this point it's kind of starting to look like he's not going to. Feels like it really doesn't matter. It feels like these cores can't win the 2v3. Feels like the 4v5 is not only skewed towards the 4, but like incredibly so.
Radiant are scanning.
I don't know. I'd rather went for a Wraith Pact here rather than opting to start with an Orchid, which is going to make these team fights better, but hurt the pick factor a little bit here. Peter just going to get ran over here again, then tipped by the entire enemy team,
Maybe it's a fake.
except for Kai. Kai has no tips to give because he's doing bad.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Well, that's about as obvious of a reveal that they have a sentry there as I've ever seen. Interesting how PPM is sponsored by the Sui. I don't know who that is, but it's one letter away from Sui. Finn has been getting to farm pretty much completely uncontested for quite a while now, which makes it all the more of a shame that he is so far behind everybody net worth-wise. You know, part of it is he has been having to rotate to keep himself secure there. And I do think maybe completely out of harm's way might be a slightly bad way to have put that originally, but still, he hasn't been dying, he hasn't really been getting threatened much since lane phase. Like a couple of times he nearly goes down, but that's it. So him being 5k right now really just doesn't look good for them. Kunkka picks up a Silver Edge here. Gonna knock out Sven's Cleave, probably most prominently. It's going to knock out Venomancer's Poison Sting if they decide that's an important factor for some reason. And of course it's also going to get rid of Fiery Soul and make Lena really kind of unable to do anything for the duration they're out. Wizard making just a straight up wall of Plague Wards here. Trying to make sure the wave equilibrium really doesn't get as bad as it could be here. Because with a Kunkka, they can very easily just keep the wave pressured up to tower. These guys are going to make sure they can do whatever they can do. Make sure that doesn't happen. You do not want the creeps to just constantly be sitting on your uphill. Even if you think you can defend uphill, you would much rather that you didn't have to. TikTok. Kunkka once again just trying to keep the wave equilibrium out here. Massive wave of spiders coming up top. Interestingly, Broom Mother really has not finished a new item in quite a while. Has been taking a back seat here for Clinks to farm, which Again, it should really be telling that it's like Ramanolo and Kai have had pretty much the exact same amount of space and time to farm. You know, Kai obviously, I guess maybe I should correct that. Kai obviously gets the space benefit because the team's not on his side of the map ever. But it's not like anybody on Crusader Knights is very frequently in the jungle. You know, you only see Brewmother at the top lane who cannot win that 1v1 right now, even as far ahead as she is. It's just not going to be a very good use of time for her, and it's going to be a outright profitable thing for Sven potentially. You know, he's been having free access to the Ancients, so on and so forth, and yet he's sitting at
Radiant
just
are
over
scanning.
half of what Clinks has as far as the net worth goes. It's really just not looking good. I mentioned earlier, it feels like the major contingent way that Ranking's gonna win this game is just based on yep, go here in the RoaS. Wizard dropped ult on almost nobody. All he got for that was the Ogre Magi. He is going to go down in moments flat. As with the Rubik, but I mean... Okay, Ramanolo is gonna go long here, but just ends up getting broken. Runs into the Roche pit, trying desperately to find something to do with his life. Answer is die. Speaking of things that rhyme with die, with everybody sitting at very low health, Kai just burning barrages in a straight line, hits everybody. Kunkka gets immortality. They lost a lot of resources to secure that Roche pit fight, but they didn't lose anybody to get it, and they took the Aegis, so it's really hard to say that's anything but a major disaster for Rankings with Scrub. I don't think this high ground defense is impossible. Everybody's death timer is very, very, very low because, as you can see here by the level chart, Dire is just straight down across the board for levels.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's gonna be hard. We did get some buybacks there, at the very least, but it's really hard to say that the Rubik buyback, for example, has any strategic relevance right now. You can just very freely do that without sweating it. Venomancer finished a Blink Dagger. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I know you want to just blink in and ult as the Venomancer this game, and indeed, a lot of the ults so far have just kind of hit few or no people. But I mean, on the other hand, you know for a fact that they're about to go uphill here, right? So it seems like that gold could have been put to perhaps some better use elsewhere. I mean, yeah, if you win this fight, it's going to be great, but you know, you got a ways to go. Got a ways to go for that. I do like the Veil of Discord, though.
Step lively now.
Your Admiral is on deck. Especially in light of Brood having that Wraith back. The
Dire's bottom tower is
Veil
under
of
attack.
Discord goes a long way for your magic damage towards getting rid of that melt factor. 5-man smoke on Rankings of a Scrub's part. Going out here, they're going to try and secure this jungle a little bit, but it kind of gets given away by the Plague
Dire's
Ward
top
here.
tower is under attack.
Let's just gladly stand still. Let them fall on it. Let them fall on his head. Just completely tanks up the smoke gank while his team moves to take out the final outer tower, the T2 bot here.
Dire's bottom tower.
And without even a hint of defensive effort, it just goes down very, very, very casually. 2 minutes to the Aegis expiration on Kunkka, who is currently, I believe this is going to be for Ags, nearing that. That was 8-second BKB used for absolutely no reason. That is not a great way to start a Rax defense for Lena. Brewmother has finished up the Assault Cuirass and is now going to be even more of a menace here. Kunkka just forgot to TP when he hit his X marks the
Step
spot.
lively now. Your admiral is on board.
And indeed is most of the way to his X here.
My just reward.
You know, with an LSA that just doesn't hit anything at all.
Better.
We get the "you're good but I'm better" voice chat line again. Rubik picks up the blink here. A little interesting. Does feel like Crusader Knights just taking their time here. Again, trying to troll the caster in that classic fashion. Everyone just sitting there getting as many items as they want before they walk uphill. Further extending that gold lead. We're almost to a 20k net worth advantage here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Aegis expires on Kunkka as we all wait with bated breath for literally anything to happen, and Rankings of a Scrub complies. 5-man smoke here. We're gonna find the Kunkka. He's gonna get dusted as well. He's gonna bring down the boat. He's gonna reveal his eggs. And he's just gonna kill everybody. Kunkka actually dies of the DOTs and spawn here, as 2 buybacks here come out from the members of the former offline.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Kunkka's sitting there like, damn it, I wish that didn't happen 1 second after my Aegis expired. Clinks has finished Hex.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And has finished Venomancer, that's dieback.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's bottom barracks has fallen.
First set of racks go down bot. They are making much of an attempt as they can to try and come out of base here, but it is just so hard for them to do anything at this point that even with the Crusader Knights very overextended, they fail to capture anything of value going out besides just more deaths in their face. Dusty gives them the sad trombone for their efforts as Kunkka, just to exacerbate how long this game just needs to be for no reason, is going to right-click his way up mid.
Step lively.
These guys are really just trolling the caster at this point, right? Like, this game at this point should have ended like 10 minutes ago. My mother working on BKB here. I honestly can't tell you why. Lena believes that her BKB is going to help her survive the burning barrage. It does not. Peter calls the GGs to save me,
Tower has fallen.
and we're getting out of here. London disconnects in the light of it.
Radiant
We're out of here. Even 30 minutes is kind of a blessing in this season, though. I mean, there's just really nothing to say about this, but the rankings of a scrub draft just fell to pieces in practice. I think they played the early game fairly well. I don't think the Lena did enough at mid to justify her existence, but like, If you use the same lineup in a really generic game, it still probably struggles because Finn is literally the only thing that even marginally resembles tanky on this lineup. I feel like Pages has such a huge weight on her head in this particular game. Like, it feels like Shallow Grave is basically necessary to survive anything they're throwing at you. I don't know. And it's pretty hard to get off, too. A lot of very snap, very high alpha damage abilities, lots of lockdown. I don't know. I feel like, well, Rankings with Scrub, I do think had the better play coming out the gate. I do think they had the better game plan for at least the lane phase in the early game. I think their composition was just so bad that they just could not do anything of value here, no matter what happened. Like, it didn't matter that Clinks walked out of lane phase 0-5 because Sven walked out of lane phase doing about as bad and just couldn't farm. It didn't matter that Lena and Kunkka came out of lane phase relatively even because Kunkka could just always kill Lena, and the reverse felt like it was never true. And it didn't matter that Venomancer came out of lane phase modestly fed, modestly, well, you know, moneyed up because he's just he's almost a character that I feel like you're just kind of sending to the offlane to fail, almost. Like, if you don't think you're going to win offlane, Venomancer's going to go great, because no matter how good or bad it does, he's going to have a part in the game just by blinking and ulting. And one fight in this game, we saw a very big ult kill Kunkka. We saw a very big ult push a couple of guys out of base, but I don't know. I feel like if you just look at pretty much any other pause 3 in the game, I feel like even if you sacrifice a little bit of that lane phase, your mid game goes so much better for you as a result. I don't know. We'll see what happens next time.